Well, here we are again. After more than 2 weeks, I finally managed to get my parcel from Parcel Force, which is a joke company. You should never use them. Um, this dungeon level has a level feeling of 7, but it is because of this thing. This lava room. This is going to be full of balrogs and pit fiends, and it only has like 4 or 5 average items, so it's absolutely not worth looking at. I can probably kill Glaurung. I could have killed Glaurung if it's not for this pit, because if I need to phase, I do not want to phase right next to those monsters. What does this do? Poison, Nether, and Disenchantment with the add-on of sound. Cool. No stat bonuses. We do have some fairly high constitution, so in a pinch this could do. I should probably take it home. It's also true that I do like to play until I get a dragon artifact armor. Oh, keep finding stuff. I use this. So every artifact set generates with approximately 3. Okay, so we just capped. There would be another 20,000. That's 600,000 experience points per level. That's more than 10 great worms that you need to kill. They're not unkillable. It's just an issue of finding them in a position where there's not a lot of stuff around and you can just shoot them. What have we got? Now we can throw out. Are these still viable? Confusion, 3 dexterity, and 8 damage. Constitution, disenchantment. They're not my only source of disenchantment. I could probably stay here for a sec. Probably take these. Well, okay, I still need to cap this. I'm probably going to cap it now, after which we'll go to 200, so that's fine. I'm not going to throw them out. None of these have a bonus to strength. It's ridiculous. What can we throw out? This maze. Nexus and Nether is always good to have. Constitution bonus. This is really hard to let go. I'm actually gonna let go of this immunity to fire. You really cannot live without resist Nether. This has +4 constitution. Resist Nether. I think that we will be well on Nether, because this one has it as well, so if in the end we go with something different kind of build, we'll have 2 armors to choose from. They both have Nether, so we can throw out the resist Nether object. There we go. This is a good spot to kill these guys. Provided that they don't wake up. You know what, I can use a potion of mana. Because they can wake up and path all the way here and attack me, and I would have wasted all this time. Okay. That potion of mana went far. Here he comes. I've asked the maintainer regarding the slow monsters spell. He was not clear on exactly how it works. He told me that it's not -10, which happens to you when the monster is casted to you. It's actually a small value like -2 or -4 or something like that. And then I've asked him whether it stacks. And he said it does stack, but he didn't say whether it stacks in time or in effect. And bugger. I couldn't get a straight answer out of him, unfortunately. We're on the forums. These small levels are really easy to navigate earlier on. I mean, for the first few turns, so to speak. I need to drop 4 more missiles. And if you see that there's a high number here under the object level feeling, it's really easy to find it. That is not, weapon mastery is pretty good. If you're a warrior, you'll almost certainly be using either weapon mastery or trickery. Or rather, if you're playing still with the standardized artifact set, you'll likely only have those choices. Because resist disenchantment and resist nexus don't really happen that often in that set. It is really horrendous. So this one we didn't discover. You know what? Whatever. Plasma hounds, don't be near plasma hounds unless you really can control them. Level feeling 8, of which that's at least a 7. So get over here, see if there's anything else. Okay. Good vault. Resistances are more important than the other stats. Just broadly speaking, in the sense that while it's not perfectly common, it is totally possible to have everything. Resist shards, resist sound, be blind, whole life. You do need see invisible ESP. ESP kind of overrides see invisible for almost everything, but not for everything. There are some monsters which cannot be seen via ESP. If you had to choose, obviously you choose ESP. But it is possible to have everything. And provided that the rest of your stats are not completely crippled, then you're fine. You do, for a class that fights, such as a ranger, you do want to have ideally over 900 hit points. The reason for that number is that when you're fighting Morgoth, he casts these mana storms that do 600 damage, and a potion of normal healing cures 300 damage. So if you have more than 901, and he hits you for 600, you will have 601. And at that point, if you drink a normal potion of healing, you're at 601, and therefore, at that point, you're no longer at risk of a second mana storm. See? That's 1 shard breath. And unfortunately, until those stupid animals, these stupid dumb things here, come to fight me, I cannot go in there. 400 damage shards, 500 damage. And now we got hounds. Oh my god. Because there's 4 of them that can use their breath at the same time. And each one is 155 damage. So 600 damage in 1 round of chaos is hard to resist, even with resist chaos. One. He is also incredibly strong. And we will not be killing him now. He needs to be put in a rune trap. And if you're fighting him as a warrior, yeah, good luck. You know, you don't, as a warrior, you don't even get resistance. In the basic standard set, there is a cloak, and you can activate it for resistance. And it's kind of a given that you must have that cloak if you want to play as a warrior, because otherwise you don't have a way to have resistance. And okay, so there's potions of resist fire and potions of resist cold. Imagine how silly it is that you're on dungeon level 90 and you're carrying these really, really early objects to all the way down into the dungeon, trying to not get them destroyed. It's just not feasible. It's ridiculous. You have a limit to what you can carry. And weapon mastery can go from 1 to 3 strength bonus, and from 1 to 5 on damage and to hit bonus. Ooh, lovely, lovely, lovely arrows of Holy Might. We still don't have a big bowl of Lorien, like a nice 5x. But even like this, these are 1050 damage. Is there anything else that I can drop? So yeah, if I drop... Okay, if I drop one of this, it's still not enough because I don't have an empty slot. So I can pick this up. I need to drop... I'll drop these. And now they've slotted in, right? So they went, the 20s went into one slot. Both slots can fill up, and also the inventory can fill up to a limit of 40. Ideally, you will always have, so that way I can pick back up my beginner's book. This also means that I can just phase from here. This just means that it's both important to have high quality arrows, but also to have consistency over the type of arrows that you have. Like big stacks are just as important as being high quality, because then you can fit more of them into your backpack. And if your quiver is full of like each bundles of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 arrows, that's not really going to do anything for you. Mithril arrows, good to enchant. Cloak of the Magi. Does this one do ESP? No, just does speed. This has P-Conf, which it's great, but not worth 5 points of speed. Because the 5 points of speed will allow me to move fast enough that I can do something else. So, well, there you go. There's another trip to the dungeon. We made 250,000 experience points. So 2 trips like that, even to just get 1 character level in experience. Technically, we could do the final fights with this. We still need to take down a whole bunch of very important monsters. Specifically, check knowledge. Oh, this I'm playing with an American keyboard. Just I bought it from the US, so I'm using the correct layout. This symbol is normally on the left hand side of the button 1 on your keyboard, but you may not have this, the kind of squiggly line over there. So if you cannot use that, just press enter and go into information and then check knowledge. Monsters, these are irrelevant. Adzog, obviously I'll kill them if I find them, but right now Medusa, Golem, dangerous because he uses those mana bolts. Mana is not resisted, so it doesn't really matter if the damage is low. If Morgoth summons him, he's not. You cannot wipe him away with a mass banishment. He'll stay there, and he will do another attack. And now potentially there's a mana storm for 600 and a mana bolt for 150. So definitely dangerous. He can stun a little bit with that. Ariel useless, Quaker useless, Walden useless. These are the 3 elementals. Saruman is really weak in this game. Aryan is dangerous. If you have immunity to fire, it becomes a lot easier. Osse will always be dangerous because of the 550 damage. Nether Breath. Mouth of Sauron. It's one of those monsters that has a lot of abilities, and some of them are far more dangerous than the other. When he randomly uses those, he's more dangerous. Otherwise, not particularly. Cat Lord, very annoying because of the fact that he summons you to him. Best thing to do when you're a ranger is just to melee him. Put down a rune, that way you are right next to him. Just be around the corner, put down a rune, he'll come around the corner, attack you, and at that point he shouldn't summon you. He doesn't need line of sight to summon you, I think. I think it's just a certain distance. And just melee him. And hopefully that'll be enough. And make sure to use the shield to increase the armor class. Kamul is one of the Nazguls, easy to kill. Is this the guy that does the... no. There's one of them that has the ability to send you away, and you get kicked out of the level. Feagwat, incredibly dangerous because of the high damage mana storms. Witch King of Angmar, kind of silly because he does not resist fire. Well, everything else at this level of danger resists fire. He doesn't resist it, and therefore he's weak to, fire-branded arrows, firebolt, or anything like that. Fire is a very common brand. It's very common for you to find things that do very high fire damage, but then nobody's affected by it. There was an argument about this on the forums, and lightning is generally considered to be the best brand. Acid used to be the best brand, mostly because Sauron doesn't resist it, and there was a little trick that you could do. The rings that activate for the element, back in the days, not only did they do the activation, but also they branded your weapon with that object. And there was one particular weapon called the Glaive of Pain. It's still in the game. It's like 96 basic damage, plus 30, and with the branding it would become 27d6 plus 30, because it has no special abilities whatsoever. It's supposed to be this big, dumb, stupid, enormous, giant weapon that you just use as basic damage. It's not really that impressive, but if you paired it with this branding ring, it would do enormous damage to things that don't resist acid, among which there's also Sauron. And also, I read on a forum post, but this is from a long time ago, and I don't think I've ever seen it, that Morgoth used to be a giant. So now he's just classed as evil, but he used to be a big P, and he was a giant class. So one of the ones that go under the P letter. And because of this, if you had a weapon of Slay Giant, so special Slay Giant, you would do 5 times the dice damage, and therefore that was considered the best damage output to win the game with. Pazuzu is just it doesn't have that many hit points. It's not that particularly dangerous. He does have these lightning attacks that you can easily resist with resistance. He does summon quite a lot, and he's very aggressive. But if you can put him in your sights, dig a hole, and put a couple of runes down, should be easy to kill. Drauglin is more annoying for the stupid low-level mobs that he summons, but in itself, he's not dangerous. Kantoras, dangerous because he can cast damaging spells and also summon a whole bunch of undead that have pass wall. He doesn't have pass wall, but he summons, like 2 or 3 dreadlords, 2 or 3 liches at the same time, and they will gank you, and you can't phase anymore because they're all around you. So bad, dangerous monster. Ankalong, big stupid version of smaller version of the Tarrasque. He just basically has these enormous breaths that you can just put resistance on. Same for the Tarrasque. Kronos, fortunately dead, has a sound and shards. Sound. I mean, 1600 fire is not like saying it's exactly easy to resist, but you can double stack resistance on this. You cannot do it with sound, you cannot do it with shards, and you can take most of the damage in one hit. Like, you can resist it, and if the dice roll is against you, you can take 400 damage. That's more than a single potion of healing. He is dangerous. And he does come with escorts that are actually dangerous. So many of these have escorts. Radagast has a couple of Ainur. They tend to sleep a lot more than Radagast, which is stupid. I have said to the maintainer, whenever the leader of the escorts wakes up, the escorts should wake up as well. He didn't think of it that way, so he never done it. But he comes with Greater Titans, and besides the fact that they melee really hard, they summon you to them as well. That's like one of the worst ability in the game. That, the one of the blink dogs, the one of the phase spiders, because you no longer have control over where you're positioned on the map. So you're taking a lot of precautions in order to make sure that you cannot be hit from multiple sources, and they will destruct that. Even though they're shit monsters, they can really help other monsters hurt you. Lungortin is just a weaker version of Gothmog, and I think he also doesn't have doesn't resist acid or lightning. It's weird. So he's fairly easy to kill for being a Balrog. Karcharot and Huan are enormously dangerous for the type of breaths they have. Nether breath, at the same level of danger that Osse has. He's got a darkness breath. This is unusual. You do get darkness very easily without trying, even. But if you don't have it, that's not a great resist hold to be caught by. And Summon Hounds, most of the time, doesn't do anything. But he can summon Time Hounds, and Time Hounds are pain in the ass. And, Plasma Hounds could be in the bunch as well. Vecna has the, Mana Storms. You should memorize these. Some of it comes through playing the game with experience, some of it by literally just studying this. But when you get it, this won't be full. You need to play with a Paladin. At some point, you do need to play a Paladin, because the Paladin is the class that has the best resistance. I did say the Priest is the one that has the most utilities. Is the one that is almost trivial to play the game. But only if you know some tricks. There are some pitfalls, there are some things that you need to know. The Paladin, you can be even a mediocre player. Once you get to be able to cast the healing spell, you can basically, it's like drinking 10 potions of healing before you run out of mana. It costs so little, it heals so much, that it's really, really hard for a monster to kill you, even when you're playing bad. And it has the probing ability. Probing does not wake monsters when you probe them. So if something is asleep, you can probe it, walk away, or kill it. And once you've probed a monster, it will tell you everything that can be known about the monster. It will fully populate the monster history, and it will even say here at the bottom, you know everything about this monster. So here, for example, I've been playing on this particular copy of Angband for a long time, and I know all these things. I know these because these have happened. So I shot him with a fire spell, or he got hit by a monster that was breathing fire and so on while I was watching, and this got added onto the monster memory that he resists fire. Right? He must have gotten attacked by another monster that does stun or that does confusion and not got hit. And therefore I know these things. That's how you populated the monster memory, essentially. So he hit me with a Mana Storm. And that's how I know that he does Mana Storm and how much the damage is. So this guy has got to go. Gothmog obviously has got to go. All of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I would say at least 19 uniques more need to be killed. These are kind of irrelevant. They're 20 with Gorlem. Even if they do show up, like Medusa shows up to the fight, she doesn't have the means to do anything. And Morgoth, whenever he hits something, he creates earthquakes. So Medusa probably wouldn't even be able to navigate the dungeon at that point. But there's at least another 20 to kill. Between 50,000 each XP and more. We're looking at about 1 million XP. Some of them are worth twice that much, so should be able to do 3 levels. Character level 45, and at that point it's kind of ready. I don't know if we're going to make it to 900. We cap at about 1050 with Ranger Dunedain, so that should be where we are when we're done with the mission of destroying the uniques. Right, so I got on this level and there's 2 special rooms, one next to another. I thought I'll clear them out, and then Vecna decided to come from off screen and started hitting me, fortunately not with a Mana Storm. Used Stone to Mud, this short trap, put 3 rooms down, burned another potion. I have some Slay Undead. These should do a ridiculous amount of damage. They do 800 per shot, so. And Gothmog has seen me. Get the mail. Get those. So what did he drop? Immunity to cold, disenchantment, sustain strength, hold life, +4 dexterity. Not bad. +4 intelligence, also not bad. What else is there? Boots that only do +2 speed. No. In a perfect world, you'd keep these 2 because we can get up to +40. So not terrible to drop 7 points. If you need a disenchantment, you don't need chaos. Sustain strength is great to have, but we'll see after we're done clearing if there's something that we're interested in. Potion of healing, we need to bring that home. Life is like a potion of extreme healing, basically. It heals everything. these are the escorts, these three, and these guys were the escorts of Vecna. And a potion of Constitution. And we're capped. You may have noticed that Constitution can get to 200, 210, or 200 asterisk, or over. For Constitution, over 200 doesn't matter. That's the maximum hit points bonus that you will get. You get it at 200. Above that, it doesn't do anything. For Strength, it does matter. For Intelligence and Wisdom, it does matter. For Dexterity, I don't know. I suppose it probably does, but in the sense that if you have 210, you can only go from here to there. So if you have 210, but you go to the 3 stars, then you do get an additional bonus to spell casting. Not spell points, but your spell failure rate will be better. And with Strength, you do get, for that last tick, you do get even more damage into hit rate. Do watch out over time if you wind up stashing too many of these restore life levels, especially if you have hold the life. I don't, but even like that, 28 is way too many. Generally 10 is sufficient. You would ideally keep a stash of it at home, which we cannot do. And another problem with these gauntlets is that they're not bad, but I don't have any space at home. I'll show you. So we have this weapon. This is the where we are with the damage output on this character. Notice that this is not a warrior. He's still only, it has +2, so the basis would be 5 attacks. A warrior will get 6 attacks. 454 versus Morgoth, so versus Evil. It doesn't have Slay Evil, unfortunately. It does have this Lightning Brand. As we said, Lightning Brand tends to be one of the ones that the least monsters resist. So the least that you'll do is 454, but more likely you'll be doing 777. And if they are undead or dragons or demons, you do 1100 damage, which is ridiculous amount of damage output, but it does have Aggravate. Aggravate means that monsters get woken up, and I do not know what additional bonuses it gives to the monsters. Maybe it gives them a bit of a speed bonus or something like that. It used to be a terrible thing that made monsters move hasted, essentially, and they all charged straight at you. So they hate you. It's like Sting is a sword that's hated by the orcs, and it turns blue, it does extra damage, it tells you when orcs are about to attack, but orcs too can sense it and they hate it, so they want to destroy it. And Aggravate it's annoying, but then again, if you have a character that has all all the sustains and all the resists, and basically you're just looking to kill as much as possible, then this is good. This is definitely good. This is the immunity to fire. That's literally the only reason why we keep him. I suppose could do without it because we have the double resist. Immunity to fire is more like something that's really easy to play with because I play almost always just mage. Your books will never burn if you have immunity to fire. That's it. And obviously you're immune to fire breaths. You can walk over lava, so there's an additional convenience to it. But it's not something that you have to have in order to beat the game, or even to, make it more likely. Like, if you don't have resist nether, you can have a really hard time in this game. If you don't have immunity to fire, alright, fine, you can live. This one, we're using it only because it has +6 speed. Unfortunately, I don't have the table, but at our speed, we move 3.8 times faster than the basic character. We move almost at 4 times the speed. If I drop a couple of things to facilitate a bit, this only puts us up to 4. So we gained 0.2 out of 38. We gained 5%. It's not great. And we can still haste. And unfortunately, the game does not change this. So it doesn't tell you that you're actually now at speed 46. But you do get yet another little bump. And if you're really, playing a power fantasy and you want to have the most uber character that you can think of, the highest DPS, then speed is the only thing that can get you DPS once you have the best bow. You get a 5x Lothlorien, plus 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. Once you have that, you're capped. And only speed will allow you to output more damage. We'll probably throw it out. We'll throw it out because we have sufficient, and we're also almost certainly going to continue playing with what we already have. We're just looking for a better bow. So this probably also not be necessary because we are already capped. And we have 18 here and another 10 points total equipment between equipment, race, and class. So probably not necessary. These are essentially gloves of theory, right? We already have resist cold, immunity to cold from C, which is the magical ring. It is unlikely that we'll get to the other ring. They are useful because they have a sustained strength, which is always good. They have disenchantment, which is always good because otherwise you can permanently lose points from your artifacts, and has old life, which is always welcome. So there's a higher chance that I'll use these rather than anything else. And we'll sell the sword. Whoops. And this I'm only only really keeping it because it has ESP on it. 9 potions of special healing is probably not 100% enough for the Morgoth fight. The problem with that is that if you run out of potions and you need to abandon the fight, then things will not get better because then you're out of potions, and even if you come back, ooh, potion of experience, thank you. Even if you come back at this point, you have no potions at all. Remember that mob over there, so might want to kill that. These are draconic Qs. We just call them Q because that name is impossible to pronounce. I guess this was meant as some kind of onomatopoeia of something that resembles this mass, this blob of living, invisible flesh that they're meant to be. Ankalong over there is annoying. I'll probably teleport Ankalong away, then use this corridor because all these werewolves means that the leader of the werewolves is there. And they are worth a lot of XP. 17,000, okay, but they don't move. They only summon stuff. So if you can put yourself there and dig a hole, you can just shoot it with magic missile and kill it, even at low level, and then shoot up in experience. First thing first, take away that Druge. Druges also have pay a lot of XP. I teleported away that blue guy because he can teleport me, and I do not want to be teleported. Ah, he woke up. Oh, actually, I can just put myself there and do like that. Yeah. It's free exp. It's free exp, and you should take it when you can. These vaults don't really have a very high... They don't really have very high dice roll when it comes to generating objects. So wisdom. So you're unlikely to find a lot of great stuff, but we found a potion of experience, so same way. Don't keep too many rods that you're not going to use. Lothlorien 4X. This is actually a higher damage rating. Remember that 2-hit bonus, that one does almost nothing. And this just gives me regeneration. This gives me hold life. I would rather have this. We have gained a little bit of damage. Actually, how much damage did we get? So these arrows of flame would do 561 against a resistant character, and with the older one they would do 524. We have gained a considerable amount of... We're still using a Helm of Telepathy, so I need to check these Crowns of Magi to see if it has ESP. It does not. It's not something that you will use the moment that you use it, but it does give you up to +3 bonus in intelligence. So it's better to keep that on your head. Adzog. The items that monsters drop, I don't think has anything to do with the type of monsters that they are. How's my stealth? Excellent. I found Aryan, gonna kill her now. If I press S, unfortunately, she may come all the way around here before I and break the runes and come all the way here before I can do anything. So I can keep the 5 button pressed a little bit. Generate some mana. Definitely need the whatchamacallit resistance. That's enough. And then just light. Does she have any weaknesses? Yeah, this is a typical high-end monster. Only worth 35,000. Resists light. Rock remover, stone to mud. This used to be relevant because back in the days, I mean, I think you can still use it. Monsters that dug through walls had a slight difference in the way that it worked, and so you would need to first cast a stone to mud and then attack them. But stone to mud, there's some monsters that are hurt by it. I think Sorns and so on. So acid, lightning, fire, cold, poison, plasma, irrelevant because you cannot cast plasma. Doesn't resist nether. You cannot cast nether. 1600 fire breath, plasma that can stun you. Mana bolt 263. Not the most dangerous monster, but definitely someone to watch out for. I did say Ranger is easy when it comes to the end game, because it is. You just need to do management of your equipment. Earthquake. Just need to manage your equipment, make sure that you're stacked with arrows. Don't waste all of your arrows on early monsters. Ideally, don't get them burned. That's another problem. If you do not have immunity to fire, whenever you're attacked by something that uses fire, they have a chance to burn your arrows, and the chance is per arrow. So the more arrows you carry, the more they can burn. Ooh, nice. You're gonna be killing some more. She's dead. Arrows of Slay Demon. Those are great against Arrows of Wound. Those are those are great against anything. And for some weird reason, Mithril, because it's probably has a lower depth than Seeker arrows, so it tends to roll a higher number over here. And therefore, they tend to do more damage. 711. Not as great as the Holy Might that we found before. Ooh, more uniques. Fantastic. What is this? Rubbish. Short Ball, Lorian. Cloak of Magi. That does not do SP. This has 7 resists, 4 basic ones plus 1 random one because it's elven kind, and then light and dark because it's pseudo dragon. Not terribly exciting. This has a curse, and it does not do ESP. Rings of Power often tend to do ESP. So a lot of times I don't have this kind of a problem having ESP. Okay, so we will do wounds. Oh, she's gonna break through that one, right? Resistance only in case that she summons Hydras, but really, I think she's weak to cold. Does not resist cold. Mithril cold. Nah. How difficult is that? Rubbish. These we absolutely have to pick them up. And at this point, because we're almost certainly set on shooting, you can find magical rings that have extra shots on them. I don't need to explain to you how ridiculously overpowered that is. So we said we're going to melee this guy. Actually, no mistake. First, the rune. Like this, I do 508 versus cold. He's weak to cold, no? No. Does not resist lightning. This thing also has lightning brand. So we do 508. Want to cast Heroism and Berserker. 508 has gone up to 523. Not incredible, but oh yeah, he's a cat, so he scratches your eyes. That's why he's got a blinding attack, right? Rubbish. The beholders are dangerous because they summon. These are dangerous because they have sound breath. I think shard's breath as well. What am I looking at? This. Boots without speed. I'm pretty sure that where the object goes, so if it goes on your shoes, then it's more likely to have speed rather than a helm. And lordliness does wisdom, but it can have ESP as well. And if you're using something that has just ESP, then you might as well put whatever else the other object has. I mean, it's not like you need wisdom, but you also do not need it. It gives you a bonus in your saving throw. So, you know, in a pinch, it's better than nothing. We shouldn't be seeing these anymore. What are they? Wounding. Oh, we're gonna come home to a nice stack. I like this shield. I'll probably take it home. Drink life to get my dexterity restored. Kill Saruman. Although this... Oh, these are fantastic. Alchemist gloves. They're gloves that do not give you a penalty to mana, to spellcasting. It doesn't say anywhere, but they don't. They do not have free action, unless for some really unusual reason you find Alchemist Glove of free action. They're not common, but they are a solid way of getting a really strong strength boost for like a mage. And when you're end game at that point, you already have whatchamacallit, you already have a free action on a lot of other things. So he may teleport away or he may not. I forgot what kind of resistances he has. Well, he doesn't resist acid, but we don't have any arrows of acid. They do exist, but you cannot brand them. So it will just need to be normal arrows. Wounding would do a bit more, but I don't want to use my woundings. Oh, asshole. 5 intelligence, nether, confusion. Come on. Got more runes here for you to break. You know what? Let's throw away frost, anything that's branded like that. We can still pick them up later on. Slay Undead, I only have 11 and they will be great against Feagwat. But I've got anything is good against Feagwat. There's just so many good arrows on this dungeon, I want to pick them up. And then we'll see how much space we have left. Wounding. These, even though they're plain arrows, because they have that number so high, they do 600. Now these, which are exceptional, plus 27 is fantastic, they do more. 770. So yeah, definitely one is not like the other, but you can't have everything always full of arrows, seeker arrows of wounding. So mithril arrows of wounding. These in themselves, they're not great because while they do that against demons, they only do about 586. But you know, consider that this is the damage that the normal arrows of wounding do. And now our quiver is a lot more compact, and we also have free slots. So we can put another 25 in this one. So I'll go back See if there's any chunks of 25. Shall we take the dragon ones against Glaurung? No. Let's take the venom ones. Yeah. I'm going the wrong way. I think I'm going the wrong way. No, I'm going the right way. And there's a shield as well that I want to pick up. Just want to see if there's anything else here. We're 4, slightly lower damage, but okay. P blind is good. This one only does hold life, but probably P blind is better because that would allow me to throw away my potions of cure critical wound. So I make an executive decision. I leave the better one. And obviously if I get a 5x, I'll take it no matter what. And now I've got P blind. And this pick does nothing. Although it's got a sustain, so possibly better than the one that we have at home. Three dexterity and intelligence at P conf, which we didn't have. No, we're fine like this. Just this is shield. Remember, there's still dragon armors are out there. They have a extremely high power rating. They're incredibly hard for the game to generate. Sometimes I get to level 50 and then I play until I have 10 million experience points. Just keep playing another like 20-30% on top of the maximum. You know, you're done. You can't go any further and still do not get one. Some of the times you get lucky, but they are really hard to find. And they are generally, you know, they're randomized, but they tend to be exceptional objects. And because of the way that the game generates more powerful things, you can have things like extra blows, extra shots, activates for mass banishment, or just fantastic stat bonuses. Once we finish this, we'll always look at the Randart set and see what was actually in there. We're at 831, we need about another 70 hit points, so about another 3 levels, maybe. At 46, we're not going further anymore. But I do want to, so this shield does dexterity, and then basic resists. This one does constitution, intelligence, and nether, definitely better, but really at this point, we can throw out the weapons. Probably throw out this one as well. We're not going to go melee. We'll not even have enough strength to cap the maximum attacks. We'll not be using aggravate. We won't need that. I'll throw these out. It's a difficult decision, but you will need to learn this as well. Look, that Blade of Chaos was 170,000 gold. The game actually counts aggravate as something and makes it cost more. It's a mistake that the game makes because of the way that's been coded, but that's what we have to live with. Remember to sell extra stuff. None of these books can get burned or destroyed in any way, so they cannot be damaged. They can be stolen by a master thief. It is extremely rare because you get a dexterity based saving throw. So the master thief needs to successfully hit you, get to the steal in, and then you get a saving throw. And I believe it's this one, the physical one, so we're 100%. They don't have any chance to actually steal it. It's not going to happen. But if you are a early character and you get really lucky and you get a really deep dungeon book, you need to be very careful about the brigands and the master thieves, because actually, yes, they can steal that, they can steal your rods, and it's not something that you want to happen to you. Now I have an extra slot, and oh no, I do not have an extra slot. Let's see if there's any pendants we can do without. Strength, intelligence, and sound. We're probably not going to be a melee build. +5 speed. It's hard to say. We're not going to replace this because we are exactly where we want with Constitution. Nether and Disenchantment. I've been saving a lot of other Nether. This one doesn't need to be there anymore. And I want to drop these. And if I could, I would drop all of these. Drop these Seeker arrows and then just go kill monsters with whatever junk I have. This one, we don't need it anymore. We have permanent chaos from the light. +5 is always good, but we're not really going to go melee. And +2 speed, it's not a lot when we have a +5. So drop that and get this one. Drop these fantastic arrows. What does this do? +2 Constitution and Nether. I think this follows the same reasoning as before. With the money that I have, I could literally just throw this stuff on the ground. Unfortunately, I cannot do that. I cannot help myself. And now I'm going to buy some basic arrows and enchant them. And at that point, I can use those arrows, and I really do not care about what happens to them. Gabish. Absolutely do not care what happens to these arrows of venom. If I have to, I won't even bother picking them up the ground because they're completely replaceable. And yes, you can sell them for more than you bought them for, but at this stage you don't actually need to anymore. Well, I'm going to go down into the dungeon, or maybe I go make some spaghetti, a little bit more, but I mean, we're nearly there. You've seen what needs to be done. It's just a rinse and repeat. I'll talk to you later. And there's a post on the Reddit Angband sub. If you have any questions, just put them there, and I'll be more than happy to go more in detail into whatever it is that you want to know. Ciao, ciao.